I'd like to call the Parks Board meeting to order. I guess the next thing on the agenda, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's all stand and
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
all right. I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. Keith said no citizens' comments, right, Keith?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right. I guess we will ask for approval of the minutes. Can I have a first? Jimmy Heads first. Can I have a second? We have a second. All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. All right. Old business, volunteer park phase 2 concession building update.
Things are moving right along schedule. The walls, some of them are up. We got approval from Piedmont to carry on with the gas line, and we're going to go ahead and while we're building the bridge to go across to the second or third, really it's the third phase, but second set of fields, we're going to go ahead and run water over there to prepare for irrigation for when we get to that point as well. If Mr. Lamar's got anything to add to that, that's been a good project, so they're handling things very nicely over there.
Any questions? All right, that sounds great. Mary's Magical Playhouse, Mr. Gilly, Mr. Lamar.
I'll let Mr. Lamar he's been the Mary's Magical Place project coordinator, so we'll let him give the best update here.
Well, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's tomorrow is the ribbon cutting, 5:30. They put mulch down today and cleaning things up and put a flagpole up, installed the last couple benches and the bike rack, and so just like I said, the last Parks Board meeting is kind of like finishing a house, just the finishing touches, but everything's come together. The stonework in the front looks fabulous. When you see it tomorrow, you just won't believe how this thing has turned out. Paula was talking about it a minute ago, and it's fantastic. They have done an outstanding job raising the money and getting the people to volunteer and to donate things, and I've just been a liaison between that group and the city and just kind of keep things rolling and contacting people, and but it's been fun. Some days it hasn't been as much fun as other days, but in the construction world, but it's really a great project, and when you guys see it, the final piece of work tomorrow night at the ribbon cutting, you'll see why we're so excited about it. It's state-of-the-art playground, and it's going to put us on the map with that. So I'm excited about it. It's been that's one of the things I told you earlier, that when I came back, that was my number one target to do, was to take care of that playground and to get it up and running. We're 3 months behind, but with construction and everything, it's on track to open tomorrow. So let's hope the rain holds off for a couple hours tomorrow afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Any questions or comments?
I'm going to add to that a little bit.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we say on TV and in public and for the record, this project is one example of how every city project should work, honestly. Our park staff not only has worked countless hours, our office staff has put up with me and Mr. Lamar being out of the office we'll go over there for what we think is 15 minutes and we end up being gone for 3 hours. So they've put up with me being gone and him being gone. Public Works has worked nearly 1,000 hours over there. The fire department has helped. They were out there today in the rain moving mud around trying to clean the parking lot. The police department works security. Everybody has pitched in. I just want to make sure we say a big thank you to our whole city staff for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilly. Any questions, comments? Well, I want to second what Mr. Gilly said about thanking everybody that's involved, including the people that had the idea and started it from day one. I had the privilege of working one of the first money maker or trying to raise money for it, and it was every event I've been to has been a great event for those people. So I appreciate the whole public work coming out and supporting and trying to get it behind it. I second Dave. I think it's going to be, when people who haven't been around it see it, it's an awesome thing. So Let's go. Old Hickory Lake Triathlon. I guess, Brad, also, would you state your name, please?
It's Brad Alsop. All right. All right, so just providing an update tonight from last month when I had come in front of the board. So thank you all for allowing me to come again and talk tonight. So we had a meeting about, I guess about a week and a half ago with a few different folks. We had Mayor Clary, Chief Bush, Officer Gross with the Hendersonville Police Department, Director Gilley, and the other representatives were there as well. And so we discussed several items, and I just wanted to provide an update tonight to everyone here at the Parks Board. So confirmed support with the Mayor's Office, also with the Hendersonville Fire Department, so the use of the watercraft. We talked about the route a lot with HPD as well and confirmed the current route. Confirmed just some financials, and they worked it out where our race and heat would not be charged for police and fire support. I know that was a point of question from last month. And then one other point of question was the charitable organization that we're going to use and donate our money to, the race proceeds. So I have met with the Salva Center, the CEO of the Salva Center, and all of that is set. And so that is the charitable organization we have determined. One other item that was still pending last month when I had come in front of the board was TDOT approval. And that meeting was already set up, but I just hadn't had the opportunity to meet with TDOT. So I have met with TDOT in the past month and have gotten their approval. So to let you know, with the exception of the Parks Department, we've gotten approval from every organization that is as required. So just wanted to let everyone be aware of that. And I just wanted to see if you had any further questions for me.
Mr. Gilley, you got some questions?
No, well, I don't have any questions. I just kind of want to give a little clarification on the meeting. Appreciate Brad being willing to meet and work through some of the details. The biggest thing I think that we had the question on seemed to be up here last time was about the security and police force and overtime and all that. That has got to be, I think at this point, it's probably brought up a pretty good question. Between that and the half marathon that we had, there has got to be a greater discussion going forward of what happens with these numerous citywide events where we can't really necessarily trace back to someone who's paying for what. We're going to have to work as an internal city staff, probably starting with the mayor's office, to figure out how to help pay for these things. Because, as Mr. Alsop said, the mayor did tell them that there would be that the overtime situation and police and fire would be taken care of, and then on the back end of that, us, Parks, Fire, and Police all emailed the mayor what we estimated our cost to be for overtime for this specific event. On events that are contained within the park, it's easy for us to designate what organization needs to pay for what. So it's harder when it goes outside the park for us to be in the middle of that. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to explain. And as you know, we don't want to get in a situation like Nashville had where all of a sudden they're hit for millions of dollars of overtime at once because they have 60 million people on Broadway every Friday and Saturday night at 10 different events. So it's just something that needs to be part of a greater discussion. I appreciate Brad working through it with us. I'm going to let our staff, if they have any comments on this.
One thing, you said you're going to meet with the Corps, is that correct? You've already met with the Corps?
Oh, yeah, we've already met with the Corps. We've gotten conditional approval, and I've got the letter here. The only reason we don't have official approval from the Corps of Engineers, their fiscal year starts October 1st. They wouldn't allow us to pay the $75 fee until October 1st. So I've got a letter of conditional approval, which I've emailed Andrea. I just can't get that final approval until we're able to pay.
And that was the big thing was closing the ramp.
Yes, and that has been approved by the Corps of Engineers, yes, sir.
And is it in writing in that letter also?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.
Any more questions, comments? Thank you for doing what we've asked to do.
You're welcome.
I second that with Andy that we are going to have to watch what we're doing on that.
Yeah.
But just, all I want you to do is make sure you stay in contact with these guys and get them everything they need, so.
And honestly, meeting with everyone was a very fruitful event. I think that we're going to have to do that moving forward, just to coordinate, even with, with TDOT, especially with TDOT, with this logistics, with the weeks leading up, the logistics of day of. We certainly need to get all parties involved to sit down. That was a very helpful meeting. So, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
All right. Oh,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. But there's two different dates listed here. Is that, I'm assuming we don't see a real issue with either date? And do we know an idea of which one it might be, or you just
Yeah, I'm
need to
sorry.
leave that open?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that might be, it's June 30th of 2019. So we were at one point looking at two separate dates, so that might still be in the file there. But it has been decided, June 30th of 2019 is the date that it was set.
Does that date work for Steele?
Yeah, the discussion was Saturday morning or Sunday morning. We went back and forth with Brad.
Yeah.
Was the main discussion. We didn't care which weekend. We wanted more push towards Sunday. I think after Brad talked to the Corps and people, we all sort of agreed that Sunday was a better day than Saturday, disturbing the least amount of traffic and so forth up and down the road. So we agreed on Sunday, and we're okay. The Parks Department's fine with the Sunday.
All right, I'll,
Move for approval.
can I have a second? Got a second with Mr. Head? Mr. Bowling first, Mr. Head second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is the Raise the Praise Music Festival. Would you please state your name, please?
Yes, sir. My name's Bill Petty. Returning today after having met last month with the board and upon recommendation of the board to visit the Saunders Ferry Park location. We actually went that very night after the meeting and drove out there. It had been a long time since I've been to Saunders Ferry Park, and it's gorgeous. And there is a very large tract of land towards the back that actually overlooks the lake, right next to the boat dock or the ramp. And we think that would work perfectly for what we're wanting to do here. Gives us an opportunity to be able to have plenty of parking, and it doesn't disrupt any of the events or the activities that take place in Drakes Creek. So with your permission, we are good with moving to the Saunders Ferry Park location. We met with representatives of the board from the Parks Department and kind of went through a layout. Being able to bring equipment in is not going to be an issue. Parking's not going to be an issue. Advertisement and participation is not going to be an issue. So we're excited about the opportunity to use that location.
Well, I appreciate you working with them, but is there any comments, anything y'all from the park staff needs to?
No, we appreciate them coming down there and working with us. And that first weekend in June was for the date they wanted to set and stay with, which was fine. And I think it's a good thing to try it for a year and see how it works out. We still got to work out where we're going to actually put the stage, some logistics on that part of the road. I think that was the only big question mark on our end was where was the stage going to fit into all this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we can work that out,
Absolutely.
as a staff with them. That's not a problem. Yeah, I'd like to try it for a year and see how it works out down there.
It's basically a self-contained event. I mean, we bring in everything and take out everything. So there's really, the only requirements are I guess, some police presence that we will hire. So.
Any comments, questions, anything, guys? All right, so we'll entertain a motion to accept this, and anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. We accept.
Do we have a second? Mr. Bowling made the motion, Paula Roget seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chairman, I
Oh,
have
you
a
got a
question.
question?
I have one question now that we have the motion. I want to make sure, because I'm assuming this is the application from the last time that still has Drakes Creek Park checked as the
Yep.
location. I just want to make sure we are approving
The application
Sanders
had,
Ferry.
yeah, the application was not updated, but we
Okay.
are no longer pursuing Drakes Creek.
Just so we make sure we get that in the motion.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll entertain, I'll rephrase the motion. I entertain a motion that we, Mr. Bowley, you want to reword your motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the event for Saunders Ferry.
I guess with that date changed, right? Y'all know which date we're talking about, right?
June 1st.
The date was okay, it's just the location is different on the application that's in your package, is what the difference is. It's really location change, not the date change. Yes, sir.
All right, for the location. So I have a second, Ms. Bourget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's see. We got the Beatty Farm property update. Mr. Gilly?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have met at the last Parks Board meeting. We had kind of formed an ad hoc committee with city staff, Parks Board members, park staff, and members of the Friends of Indian Lake. We have met twice on a good path there, I think. We've also walked the property with the members of the TWRA. They're highly interested in being able to help with some grants to develop the property in some ways. Public Works has stepped up for us and mowed the property now once, and we'll do it again in November, which has been a huge help because we honestly don't have the exact proper equipment or the manpower at this time of year. With that, I would like to let Mr. Jeff Cundiff, who's kind of chairing the ad hoc committee, tell us about kind of the timeline moving forward as we want to start getting this out into the community to get people's opinions on what needs to be used on that piece of property.
Thank you, and I appreciate the time to come back here. As Andy said, we're excited about this. We're excited about this opportunity. The first thing that our committee has decided to do is to hold this preview event that we came before you before and got it approved, and we've been planning that event. That event right now is scheduled for November 17th. We've bumped the time up to 1 o'clock to approximately 3:30. And what we intend to do is have a hayride set up there so we can take people around the lower piece of property and then take them over to Alexandria, is it Place Drive, and there they can unload and either walk up the hill. Jeremy and a group of volunteers over the weekend spent a bunch of time on Saturday clearing a path up the hill, and so it's a nice path walking up there and nice and safe. And then we're also going to provide some ATVs, UTVs type of vehicles for folks that maybe choose not to walk up the hill. We'll be able to provide them with the opportunity to catch a ride up there. And there's an overlook up at the top they'll be able to go see, and you can see Nashville and the lake, and it's just beautiful. So, and through that planning, we've been working with staff. We've been working with the police department so that we get secure access for people to come onto the property. Right now, we intend on them to park probably behind the house on the property, so it's all safe and contained in one area. The fire department's going to have their UTV out there, and that event is labeled as a preview event, so we can showcase the property and get everybody's minds racing and get all the ideas flowing, because we want to parlay that directly into community meetings. And what the intent of these community meetings is so we can gain everybody's ideas, and we can pile them all up, and we can have everybody vote on them. We can conduct surveys, and then we can come back to you all with feedback from what the community has said and what all the stakeholders want. And then we'll take that information and prepare 1 to 3 master plans for the property that kind of distills down the desires of the community, and come back to the Parks Board and present that. The community meetings are scheduled for, the first one's on November 28th at 6:30, right here in this room. The second one's scheduled for December the 13th at 6:30. And from that, I anticipate coming back probably sometime in the first quarter of 2019 with feedback and a plan to present back to the board for their consideration. And then we will go to BOMA following this process and present them with whatever the plan is that is developed from the Parks Board here in this committee. And then we'll have a finalized plan, and we can go seek grants and try to implement the plan. So I'm glad to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions? All right. Well, thank you for the update. I'm looking forward to continuing with this process. I think it's going to be a good one. At the finishing product, I think, will be really something special.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
all right. On to new business. Old Hickory Lake Tournament, B.J. Phillips. Yes, if you'll step up to the mic just to introduce yourself, and we'll.
There we go. My name is B.J. Phillips. I'm the owner of MP Outdoors LLC. We're doing business as Hookbone Fishing League. I have with me my tournament directors, David Thomason and Tommy Skelton. This year we were or the last year or so, we've been a small tournament trail in West Tennessee. We see a need for, and we're trying to grow a large payout league for the state of Tennessee on Tennessee water. Similar to Alabama Fishing Trail and Texas Team Trail, but for our state. We've been talking with Miss Andrea about getting up here with y'all. We love your facilities at Saunders Ferry, and we would like to host a tournament there on April 27th, 2019. Tournament will start at Safe Light and go to 3 p.m. Approximately next year we should have 50 to 100 boats, and we have possible sponsor vendors. One of our vendors that we really can't name yet because we haven't signed a contract with, but they're interested in having, bounce houses and stuff like that for kids. It'd be a major tournament trail event at your ramp, and that's what we're looking to do for the state of Tennessee and using y'all's facility. For next year, for sure, we would like to in the foreseeable future. We traveled up here from Fayette County, Tennessee this morning. We're staying the night and just going to a couple of different tackle stores and marinas and stuff.
Staff, any questions y'all want to ask?
I met with these individuals earlier this afternoon. We kind of sat down and went over their event. I think they pretty much have a good handle on what's going on. But after this meeting, we'll certainly continue and get everything ready to go for the event next year.
I have some flyers here I can hand out for y'all just to look over if you would like to look over them real quick while we're standing here.
Why don't you? Might be helpful.
Do we have a proposed date? Did I miss that?
Yes, sir. April 27th would be
Thank you.
the date we were looking at.
That's right here, Andy.
I'm sorry.
What about getting electricity down there what kind of electricity are you talking about with the aerator, the tanks and stuff?
Yes, sir. We have generators to run everything, but it would be nice if we had some power down there to run. I noticed y'all have water down there at the facility, at the building to fill our live wells and our area tanks.
Just for my curiosity, as a for-profit tournament, if they're making money or they're paying out money, how does that affect what we always do with tournaments, whether it be softball or anything? I know sometimes we waive anything, sometimes we don't.
So
Did
we
discuss
are
that?
100% payback tournament trail. So whatever the anglers pay in, we pay back 100%. So this numbers are based on 50 boats, which would bring 100 people to the town, or about 125 people with staff and stuff like that. That's the payout here. At 225 boats is our goal in long term. That would bring 450, 500 people to the town for hotel rooms, restaurants, and to use the facility. Yeah, our goal is to bring revenue to the tourism department and, for us to grow, like I said, a really great team trail for the state of Tennessee.
Would Keith or anybody, would they need court permission to of any kind?
No, they shouldn't, because you're not going to close the ramp down. You just want to go through the core. Fishing tournaments don't close the ramp down. You want people there. So that's no
right.
different between trying to run a triathlon, guys swimming in and out. So, yeah.
Yeah, our
there-
hopes are to draw a crowd to the ramp. Yeah.
And your question about electricity, Mr. Chairman, there's some electricity there at the shelter and also there across the ramp at the restrooms, but it comes and goes sometimes. I don't want you to depend on that and not have a generator as a
Yes, sir.
backup or something like that. I'd hate for you to say, hey, we're going to keep these fish alive based on this electricity.
Yes, sir.
And it goes out on you. So I would have backup for generators there.
We have all the
100%.
equipment to run self-sufficient, for sure.
Anybody up here, y'all got any questions? All right. Well, I will entertain I guess, a motion to maybe accept this. Nathan's making the motion, a second, Mr. Head second. I guess all in favor, state aye. Aye. None opposed? I just want you to make sure you work with the staff
Yes,
real
sir.
close. I was down there, my kids, some years ago when there was not a Bassmasters, but it was a pro event. And it brought a lot of people into that park.
Yes, sir, that is
So-
our hopes to do the same.
So-
And to do it annually, hopefully
Yes.
we could work with y'all annually to do that.
Just work, like I said, work close with the staff and
Yes, sir.
let's make it go off smooth. Civitan football request for fall 2019 flag football league.
My name's Rob Winfrey. I'm the treasurer of the Civitan Club of Hendersonville. I'm here because our president, Brian Whitaker, is out of the away traveling on business right now. We have had quite a few requests to run a fall football league from several of our parents and players that either play in our tackle football league or our spring flag football league and even our baseball program. So we talked about it in our club, and we would like to try to run a flag football program next fall. The timing of this would be try to go a little bit after our tackle football season. So we're talking about in the October, November time range of that area. Also, at that time range, the fall baseball season should be winding up about that time. So we also thought it would be a good time because some players who are really like baseball, they'll play fall baseball and play spring baseball, and there's really no time in there to try to play the flag football. So in that particular case, they would be able to play flag after the baseball season was over. And we're also trying to get it done before the basketball season starts, just that time period in between.
Saturday or Sunday or both, or what are you really thinking about?
We were looking at a Saturday and maybe even a time during the week. Obviously trying to avoid Fridays, that's obviously high school football. Nobody wants to do anything during that. But during the Saturdays and Sundays, try to reserve for like rainouts, things like that. But depending on our numbers, if we can get it all done on a Saturday, that's what we do. That's what we would do. But if we could do it on, if we need for the numbers wise, play during the week, then we'd consider that as well. Maybe a game or two after working hours.
Mr. Bowler, you got a question?
I do. My question's for the staff with, and you said you're looking at season November, October, November?
Yeah, the goal would be to be done before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And staff, you guys have an opinion on wear and tear, field availability, really maintenance?
Yeah, from a field availability, that wouldn't be a problem at all. Pretty much, football only uses those two fields, the football field and field one down there at this time of year. So tackle football would be done by then. So those two fields will be completely open. We don't allow the tackle football teams to practice on either on the football field. They only play games, and I think they play like 3 or 4 weekends out of the whole year from August to October. So I don't see this being an issue.
Any more questions?
I got one question, Mr. Chairman. Just curious, because are you starting games looking middle of October or practices? Or, I know you won't practice much, but
You're right.
Yeah, I know you don't that part of it, but.
Yeah, I'm thinking like at the very beginning, I was just going to be like a week or two of practice, and probably right around the end of October would be, or mid to late October is when you would probably start games. Because if you, I'd say you want no more than a 5 to 6 week season. Is what we would be looking at as far as games went. You'd probably start practicing maybe a week, 2 before that. So in the entire encompass, maybe 7 to 8 weeks.
Only thing I see running into is our basketball program. We start practicing the last Saturday in October. So you will have kids still having to choose the whole month of November. Are we going to play flag football? Or are we going to play basketball on Saturdays?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I see from our standpoint is we practice every Saturday up until Thanksgiving, a part of it. So, I mean, again, they're having to choose between baseball and flag football in the spring. So, but from our standpoint, I mean, perfect world, they would be done by the end of October. But I'm not sure that's feasible.
And we have done things like with our baseball program to try to help work out scheduling a little bit better, in the flag football, to where we can, if there's certain age groups that we know that they're playing on Saturday mornings in flag football, we'll try to push their baseball games to maybe Saturday afternoon. And if we know that they're, in this particular case, if we know you've got the younger kids playing or practicing in the mornings on Saturdays, we can try to make their games in the afternoons on Saturdays or something like that. Just try to help eliminate as many conflicts as we could.
Okay.
Yeah, I think our 6U, 8U are obviously our biggest two divisions for baseball. But for the most part, fall baseball finishes up every Saturday, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, for all of our divisions. So even if you guys wanted to start a little earlier in the year and go in the afternoons for those weeks, we can work, I can work with you on schedules and let you know the age divisions. The only thing we would get into that is, I guess, the field layout for tackle football and flag football and how would that work. But
yeah, we'll try to avoid the overlap between tackle and flag as much as humanly possible.
Any questions from the board? I guess, Mr. Gilley.
I think this is a very good thing. I think if you look around, you're seeing tackle football numbers declining. We can all make guesses as to why, if it's concussion related or it's whatever. But I think the flag program in the spring has grown exponentially. We've spent a lot of time talking about we're going to have to address the adding a second real full-size football field instead of them having to play in the outfield of field one all the time. That's going to be something we're going to have to look at. But I feel like this can be worked well together, and I think it's a very good thing.
Well, you kind of said it before I could say, I think flag football's numbers are growing by leaps and bounds. But I guess I'll entertain a motion for
One thing.
one more thing.
When we met with Brian and I guess Cameron earlier in the year, could you go back to them and ask them where they are? They were going to look into bringing a regional. We sent a team to the NFL Nationals last year. I don't know if everybody realizes that or not, but they were going to look into us being a host for one of the NFL regional flag football competitions. So if you could kind of have them give us an update on that, because if it's going to be something that's we look at for next summer and early next fall, we need to get on that as soon as possible.
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
right.
Mr. Chairman, I would make sure that, as I understand it, we're not talking about this year. We're talking about you starting this in the fall of 2019.
That is correct.
Okay. Because there is one event this year, one weekend. We have a football event over there in late October.
Oh, Lordy, I couldn't imagine trying to put it together right now.
I know, but I would assume if that might be a recurring event, you might have a weekend where you would have an issue having access to the facility.
You talking about the Fighting the Cure
Yes.
game?
Yes.
Normally, that's on Sunday afternoon, and so we would be glad, yes, that would have first priority because they're a returning event, and we'd work football, the games on Saturday around that event, Saturday, and then around them on Sunday. Yes.
All right. Mr. Head?
I think, make a motion to approve it. I think it's a great idea.
All right, Mr. Head made a motion to approve it. Mr. Nathan seconded it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. No opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just, as always, work with the staff closely, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. HHS Fall Fishing Tournament, Mr. West.
Kerry West from Hendersonville High School. Thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. I am here to request use of Sanders Ferry boat ramp on Wednesday, October 3rd, for a local Sumner County fishing tournament between high schools of Hendersonville, Station Camp, Beach, Gallatin, and White House. Great opportunity to get all these schools. All of these schools have now formed bass teams, fishing in Tennessee Bass Masters tournaments, high school tournaments, and it's a great way to get local, get all of our kids to be able to fish close, and just would ask for that request.
Go ahead, Mr. Gilley.
I want to thank Coach West for coming up here tonight. They had this event in the spring already. That was kind of in the transition time, and I wanted you guys to make sure that we gave our blessing as Parks Board on this going forward, where he didn't have to come up here again. We can just set the date from now on. But I just wanted you guys really, and lady here, sorry, to be informed about this because it's a growing thing in the community, and I wanted to make sure everybody on TV knew about it, and maybe the Hook Bone people will sponsor it. I don't know, since they're sitting back here tonight.
Nice.
Anyway, I just want to thank you for coming up here and kind of telling everybody about it, and that's it.
Any questions from, any more questions? I have one. As far as, I know it's going to be local Sumner County, is it going to be outside of Sumner County too?
Only Sumner County teams.
Only Sumner County teams, all right. I think it's a great, anything that we can do for the high schools and the school, I think it's a great thing, and I appreciate Mr. Gilley kind of making the hook bone guys maybe get on the hook on that, so. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to
All right,
approve.
Nathan and Mr. Head seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed, and I guess we'll have a recurring date. Just make sure you get with them on that, and we'll make sure that date gets in there. So, go catch fish.
Will do. Thank you.
Special events list page, I think that's for y'all's information only. All right, staff reports. Ms. Hamblin.
All right, coming up is my preschool track meet. It will be on Sunday, October 21st at Drakes Creek Park on the football field. This is for all 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Their age will be determined on what age they are on October 31st of 2018. They will participate in the 25-yard dash, hurdles, and tennis ball throw and get ribbons. The mini mile run will be optional. The cost is $15, and they may register online at hendersonvilleparks.org or in the office Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 p.m. They have to be registered by October 7th in order to be guaranteed a T-shirt. And I want to reiterate that if they register after October 7th, they will not receive a T-shirt due to the amount of time that I need to order the shirts and get them ready. We do have Trick or Treat at Drakes Creek that we're working on. I'm working on this with Andrea. It's October 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. Raptor Special Needs Basketball will be having signups in December with the season running in January and February. And we usually play on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings at Station Camp Elementary. And then Lunch with Santa is going to be the first Saturday in December. At one point, we looked at maybe making some changes. We're going to stick with the same thing at Winton Elementary this year. The construction doesn't seem to be going to be a problem with having it there again this year. Any questions?
I have one. Just for my curiosity, what are 3-year-olds hurdling?
I actually have hurdles made out of PVC piping at different heights, so the 3-year-olds have a smaller height, and then the 4 and 5-year-olds have a little bit taller height. It's really fun to watch. Really fun to watch. And I need volunteers to help on that day, so it'd be a great way for you to get to watch and see what's going on.
31st.
October 21st. Any questions?
Any more questions? Dave, start limbering up so you can at least not trip over one of those hurdles, please. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Ms. Hamlin. Ms. Wise for the special events program.
All right, it was another busy month. It started off with the Honey Festival. They had a great turnout. If you didn't go, there were a lot of people there. We actually met with them, the mayor, some of the staff, Barry Young. We all met with them on the 14th to discuss how it went, see if they're going to come back again this year, how we can work with them to make that happen. According to them, they had about $40,000 in expenses, $7,000 in revenue, and had around 1,000. Well, they said 5,000 people came, but we're thinking more like 1,000. So who knows? Their cross-country meet had another one that same day. They had around 1,000 people. It was their biggest meet yet. So it was a pretty busy weekend. The PGF Regional Qualifier Tournament was 2 weekends ago. They had about 20 teams, similar to last year's event. The ribbon cutting for the Mosaic Wall at Memorial Park was on September 13th. They had around 30 to 50 people, so they had a pretty good turnout for that. We had a POW dedication this past Friday, where we installed a chair to honor those who obviously were POW or MIA. And they had a pretty good turnout as well at Drakes Creek on Field 3, and we can thank the Hendersonville High School baseball team for that, along with the VFW. Price Waterhouse Coopers had their annual softball tournament here last weekend. They had about 22 teams come from all over the country. The half marathon was also that Saturday morning. They had around 500 entries, so it was another busy Saturday for us. And then I actually started a new Facebook contest where people, anytime they go to the park, they check in with Hendersonville Parks and Recreation. It's just a way for them to come to the parks, check it out, get more people involved in the parks, see what it's all about. And then I also partnered with local restaurants, so if they go to those restaurants and mention Hendersonville Parks, they get an entry, and so far for the month of September, the winner gets free ice cream for a year at Maggie Moo's. For the month of October, the winner gets a $50 gift card to Chop House. For the month of November, they get a free pint a month for a year. December, Wendy's generously donated burgers for a year. And then January, O'Charlie's is giving away gift cards for the winner. So hopefully we get a lot of feedback from this, positive feedback, and get a lot of participation out of it. And then don't forget Mary's Magical Place. Ribbon cutting is tomorrow night. And then we also have a soccer tournament this weekend.
Any questions? I have one. What was the feedback on the parking for the, out of curiosity, for the Honey Festival? Did it go off smooth over there with that tight area over there?
I didn't really hear anything. I went out there Saturday, and I didn't see, I know they had traffic control, but it was, between that and the cross-country meet, it was busy, but I didn't really hear anything from them.
Problems, no issue. Mr. Gibbons?
I was just going to say that I think I have not received one. I didn't receive one negative email about the Honey Festival. So that means it probably went okay, I guess.
That's a good thing. I
guess
just
so.
know over there it can be somewhat
They did a pretty
challenge.
good. They did a really good job of getting people over from the high school, and they had one, bless his soul, volunteer who was out there all day long, waving people. So they did pretty well.
Good thing. Good thing. Thank you, Ms. Wise. Appreciate all you're doing. The new website. It's nice. I think you had something to do with some of that thing that you sent me the other day, or sent us all the other day. Newsletter, excuse me, not website, newsletter, I'm sorry.
Newsletter is a
Yeah.
staff effort.
Yes, staff, well, excuse me, let me back up. Thank you, staff, for it, so, but,
Kristen in our admin office kind of compiled it all, but the staff gave her all the stories, and that's going to be a great thing to keep everybody informed, hopefully. So
I think it will be. All right, Maintenance Supervisor Stephen Russell.
that would be me. Stephen had a little family issue, and he sent me his report this afternoon. He wanted me to let everybody know that the ryegrass for soccer has been ordered. Should go down within the next week. Got good weather to put it down. Thanks, as always, to the Hendersonville Soccer Club and Tennessee United for helping to pay for the ryegrass. That will go down on all the fields, not just soccer, which is helpful. Staff, he wanted to make sure and thank his maintenance staff, and I thank them too, because they have worked hard. I mean, it has been, at Mary's Magical Place, a daily punch list of items to knock off. And every time we go over there, it seems like we do 2 and add 5 every time we go over there. So what you see tomorrow is the finished product of a lot of people's combined efforts. None of them, the least of them is ours. Not the least of them is our staff, because they don't probably get enough credit for the little things behind the scenes that they have done to make it just perfect for tomorrow, hopefully. The maintenance staff pressure washed the back soccer bridge, Public Works, where it was kind of almost about to collapse from the creek coming in. Public Works guys went out, and Trace and his crew, concrete crew, rebuilt the back soccer bridge right beside the soccer fields. It's now a lot safer. And then our staff pressure washed it, and they'll be moving on to pressure wash the bridge at Veterans Park next. Try to keep the moss off and make it a little better. We have a project going on with the mini kicker field, number 4 of soccer, where we're going to kind of reroute. Right now, there's the track that the greenway there goes out onto the road, and there's a gap in the fence, and balls were kind of going out, and we had little kids that could have got out. Nothing ever happened, but just as a safety precaution, we're going to kind of reroute the greenway and keep people off the road there and filter them into the parking lot, and we'll be able to close off that fence there. So that will be a lot safer, even though we didn't really have anything. It could have become something, so that's coming up there. It's a little thing, but an important thing. Also, we want to let everybody know that they'll be able to ride on the hay rides on the park's trailers at the trick or treat on October 30th. They're getting ready for that, and those guys down there work very, very hard, and I appreciate them. I know our staff appreciates them, and I know we get so many compliments on our park and how it's prepared every day. Looks like it's brand new, starting the day fresh. So that's Stephen Russell's report.
Thank you, Mr. Gilly / Stephen Russell. Any questions? All right. Next, Dallas Long, Parks Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fall baseball is still underway. We'll have some of the league finish up next week, pending weather, and then the other half of the league will finish up following fall break. Full count baseball league, they'll start up once we get back from fall break in October. Civitan football is still underway as of right now. I think they have another week of play still in October, and then that's all we have for them. Next Tuesday, they have an event on the football field to promote their league, and they'll have the Tennessee Titans mascot and cheerleaders out there. So that'll be hopefully a good event to promote Civitan football. Soccer is ongoing. We got the Tennessee United fall tournament coming up this weekend, and we're expecting over 150 teams to come into town for that. And then the two clubs will take fall break off pretty much, and then they'll start up once they get back. Brandon Jones has fall tennis lessons ongoing right now, and that'll go through October 4th. And then we are still accepting registrations for our high school and adult basketball leagues through Sunday, this Sunday, September 30th. So if anyone is looking to get in maybe a Parks Board team, we could use you guys. And then lastly, we are in the process of adding our shelter reservations online. So we're looking to do that starting January 1st. The staff has been going through some trainings to get everything set up and prepared and kind of learn the process of how we'll handle those online registrations. We started our leagues in the spring, so this is kind of the last part of doing online registrations through our office is adding the shelters.
Yeah, one quick question. Scorekeepers and gym supervisors, are the applications out for those as well, and who's taking care of that?
They are actually. Andrea is over the scorekeepers and gym supervisors. So, but yes, we've been taking those in the office.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Scorekeepers and gym supervisors.
Yes, we are accepting I was trying to volunteer for the preschool.
She's volunteering to help me.
Yes, we are accepting applications for both gym supervisors and scorekeepers. The deadline is this Friday. I need at least 15 more scorekeepers by Friday if possible, and I think hopefully 2 more gym supervisors would be excellent. So they are coming in.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Ms. Wise. Athletic Director Keith Bruce.
Also the Assistant Director. Thank you, sir. Yeah, and if anybody was interested in being a scorekeeper, tell them to come on and call the office. We could still, like you said, call the office and we'll get you signed up. The local leagues, the fast pitch league is still ongoing. The hockey, the senior men have a couple more weeks and then they play their tournament. The men's open league, of course, got rained out tonight. We had to make them up. The co-ed league has a couple more weeks of co-ed softball. Kickball is this Friday, if you're interested, is the finals for the kickball tournament. So come on by Veterans Park, 6:30 Friday night to see the City Champs tournament. Follow up a little bit what Andrea said on the Price Waterhouse, the PWC tournament. Had a really good weekend this weekend with these guys coming in. Actually, she said there was 22 men's teams. There was also 8 women's teams. There were 30 teams, and they were from Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Tampa, Milwaukee, California. There's a lot of different people in the park this weekend. I mean, multiple states were in the park this weekend. So, good time. The rain got us late on Saturday, but good event, and I think they'll be back eventually in a few years. They really enjoyed it. Whoever wins the tournament, everybody gets to pick the next year's site, and so they go to like Vegas and Texas and Columbus, and so they rotate around to different cities. So I think they liked us enough; they'll come back in 4 to 5 years, when it cycles back around. So real good event. The youth basketball, as Dallas said, we got signups going through Friday in our office, and then at the online, online through Sunday at midnight. So, so come on in, sign up. We'll get you in for that part of it. And then one question from Mr. Head about the Wendy's. Will he be cooking those hamburgers when the Wendy's gives out the prizes for the people in the park?
No, that's what I have restaurants for.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Any questions, comments? All right. Interim Parks Director, Mr. Lamar.
Part-time seasonal, not interim anymore. Just a couple things. I don't have much. I kind of want to piggyback on what Andy said. I've been working with those guys close down at Mary's Magical Place, and the Public Works, Fire Department, Police Department, everybody's been very cooperative, above and beyond. Really, really good stuff, and I appreciate them. I've got about 160, 70 hours left on my 10 years part-time, so I'll continue to help the new director and the staff wherever I can, whatever he sees fit for me to do. Concession stand. There'll be some follow-up things in Mary's Magical Place, I'm sure. It's not completely done yet. We've got a few things to finish up after it opens, but we're pretty close. And I was kind of heading up the umpires for that Price Waterhouse tournament this weekend. Probably in all years of my umpiring and UICing and being an official, probably the least amount of controversy we had in any one tournament ever. Okay, I don't know that, and I brought guys, Ed Miles and Mike Barrett and Wayne Dutton. I brought some of the older guys who used to do softball for years, and they really kind of hesitant because slow pitch tournaments usually bring out the worst in people. And we had, it was unbelievable. We didn't have the first comment. We only used one umpire per field, and that usually even causes more issues, okay, because you can't see a lot of things. But we never had, we played 105 games, scheduled for 107. We played 105 games in 2 days, not the first issue. And it was kind of refreshing, to see that happen. So I want to thank those guys. And the last thing, Mr. Pike, I just want you, just a side note here for you, that I did run high hurdles in high school. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Lamar? Thank you, Mr. Lamar. All right, next, Parks Director Andy Gillen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to give everybody an update, I was told by our city attorney that the city now has received the deed to the land at the Durham Farm Park. That could be, it could be 1 year, it could be 15 years before we have anything out there, but that'll be something else that we'll have to address maintenance-wise going forward as well. But the city does now own all the acres there that were promised. And with that development, just reiterate again, Mary's Magical Place grand opening, sensory opening at 4 o'clock for folks that have children or adults that don't like the crowd or the commotion. That 4 to 5 period is for them to kind of go in and do whatever they want to do inside the playground before the real grand opening at 5:30. We have ordered and are expecting here in the next couple of weeks replacements for all the AED machines within our parks. We currently have 8 that were all different brands and that were not on a service contract with the city, but we're going to be on the city service contract now where the groups don't have to worry about that, replacing pads and batteries, and the fire department has helped us out with that, and we'll have all the same brand AEDs in all the places that we currently have them. So I think that's a good thing going forward. Also, Mr. Head, you will like this. We have our staff working with Centos to upgrade all the first aid kits in the concession stands and kind of get on a service contract with them as well so that our groups don't have to run out and buy Band-Aids at Walgreens and things like that. It's just some little things that, it's not really, nobody would ever know about it, hardly, unless it comes up and you have to use it. I'm just trying to kind of get everybody on the same page there. Light project for volunteer and volunteer park at Arrowhead and the football field and softball field 1. We've got a price. We have submitted the purchase agreements to the city attorney. He's going to review them and mark them up like an English teacher probably, and we'll get back with Musco on that, but we hope to begin work on that in November and have new LED lighting in those 3 facilities hopefully by the spring. One final thing, discussion, and I'd really, not necessarily tonight, don't need a discussion about it, but I'd like for you all as the Parks Board members to kind of go home, maybe give us some feedback in the office. We've discussed the need as things are growing and we're having more and more issues pop up in the late afternoon all the way through the nighttime areas. As we have more and more events and things going on, we've discussed the need for probably a night crew leader, someone who could have decision-making ability on fields, who could change a base, drag a field, help with the lights, notify the concession stand if the fields are closed, things like that. Not just necessarily just a maintenance worker, but somebody that is more of a supervisor type person at that point. A point of communication with all of us as well when we're on 85 different places. So you all are down there a lot, and I would just be interested in your feedback if you think that's something that we could have benefit of going forward. I mean, there's been times when we've had to, already in the last month, we've had to send one of our staff, office staff here, over to take wasp spray to the lacrosse field, or a dog has gone wild on the Veterans Park fields, and just all kinds of different issues. So just would like your feedback, I guess. You don't have to give me feedback, but would appreciate it. Other than that, it's been crazy in our office. You look out in the parking lot sometimes, and we're the only 3 cars left here on a Friday night at 6 o'clock, but we're getting everything done that we've got to get done, and appreciate our staff very much, and keeping things going as best we can right now. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Gilly. All right, roundtable. Ms. Bourget?
Thank you.
Mr. Bowler? Mr. White? Mr. Head? Mr. Frost? I just want to say one thing real quick. I want to thank, because I think this might be the last meeting Mr. Lamar may be in for a while now. Well, I know, but I do. I do want to go ahead and thank him for the work for the work he's done and coming back and helping this go smooth until we could get Mr. Gilly on. I think it was a great move. I appreciate him volunteering to come back, and I think it helped us tremendously. So I will go ahead and publicly thank you for that.
I mean, you're not going to call me after Miami beats the Patriots?
I am going to call you after that, but I'll go ahead and say it before. I will take a motion to adjourn. Mr. Bowler, I'll second it. Mr. White, all in favor? Aye, we are adjourned.